Today is the 16th of July, the day before the King's speech at the state opening of Parliament. I'm here to help people understand what's going to be happening over the next 2 or 3 weeks, as we have the threat of two things being brought in by Labour that will affect home educators. Since the end of last year, they've been promising to bring in a register of children not in school, though the message is confused. And they've also this year and put it in their manifesto that they would bring in a single unique identifier for every child in the country, which could be shared across services and would follow them at least till they're 18, and I suspect much longer. There's been reports in the press of these things being implemented in a bill that will be announced in the King's speech. It's not as simple as that. So let me give you some ideas of what will happen. Right, a very quick rundown is this. The King's speech happens tomorrow, Wednesday the 17th of July, and is scheduled to start about 11:25 in the morning. It can be watched on Parliament TV, online, or on the BBC's Parliament channel. But don't expect to hear everything in it. It will only contain minimal headlines. However, in recent years, 10 Downing Street has shortly afterwards published the full text on its website, and the names of the proposed bills have been inserted into that document in square brackets. I would expect that to happen this time around.
This is the document which will also give us the first look at what is really in the bill. You can see here the contents of the one from 2020, and I've underlined Schools Bill. If we move on to see what it's like, well, on page 27, you begin to get an explanation of what the bill is about and the main elements, the main benefits, and so on. On the next page, we had two giveaway statements about parts 3 and 4 of the bill. The first, in the solid red background, is establishing children not in school registers, while the second one was in regard to making unregistered settings register and to work with Ofsted. On the final page, there was one paragraph about children not in school. It really just reported on the number of children being home educated, but did not justify their actions. So something like this is what we can expect to be published shortly after the King's speech.
However, even then, there will not be any details, any significant details in that document. What happens next in Parliament is important. On Wednesday afternoon, both houses will begin a series of debates on the address. These will continue for several days, and after the first day, they will be focused on different themes. These are more likely to indicate the contents, but not the fine details of the planned bills. In 2009, when Ed Balls announced the Children and Schools and Families Bill, in which he was implementing Graham Badman's proposals to set up registers, he simply said, I will initiate, or I will put forward a register of home educated children. And it was left till later in the debate for Andy Burnham, now Mayor of Manchester, then a health minister, to respond to comments by the other members of Parliament about the registers. That will, whenever that happens in the Commons, that's probably all that will happen this time round. However, we don't know when that will be. Parliament's website on the What's On section lists the programme now through till for about the next 2 weeks, though after a week it gets a bit fuzzy around the edges. So far for the Commons, they haven't announced the title of the debates that will be held. I'll tell you a bit more about when they'll be held, but they have done that for the House of Lords. And the first inkling we might get is on Friday, the 19th of July, when the topic in the Friday, the 19th of July, when the topic in the Lords is creating opportunities, education, early years, and healthcare. Okay, just let's go back to the business. The King's speech is on the 17th. The 18th, the Commons is debating the address, but no title given. The Commons will not sit on the 19th. It sits then the following week on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. It will debate the address every day, but there is no topic listed as of this morning for each of those debates. There are oral questions to precede the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday debates, but none of those are by the Department for Education. Again, it will not sit on the 26th. It sits on the 29th and 30th of July. Only oral questions are listed and none for the Department of Education. And when you get onto the website on the 31st of July, it says the House of Commons is in recess. The House will next sit on the 2nd of September. Now, in the House of Lords, as I've said, there is this debate on Friday 19th, which is about education, early years, and healthcare. So that is a date you really ought to put in your diaries and watch out for. None of the rest of the debates are there, and the House of Lords, the recess dates have not been announced, but it very much looks like it will adjourn for recess on the 1st of August. Now, what else can we say at this point? One thing about after the recess, as stated, they come back on the 2nd of September. However, I'm not sure how long they'll be sitting from that date, because the Commons normally has a recess for the conference season. Before the election was announced, the three main parties had fixed their conference dates to run over the 2 weeks starting on the 14th of September through till the 2nd of October. But normally they recess for 3 weeks. So I should imagine they will probably break up on something like the 12th of September. So they'll have less than 2 full weeks in the Commons, and they may not come back until the first week of October. So nothing's going to happen fast unless they put forward an education bill in the House of Lords. If they do that, the key thing to remember is it could well be going through Parliament while the Commons is in recess, because the House of Lords does not break for the conference season. There's also been a lot of speculation in the press. I'd love to go into those, but I can't do that in this video. But what I do want to do is to say to you that it is important, it is very important that you begin to engage with your MPs over these next 2 weeks and through the summer. Why is this? Well, a lot of you will have a new MP, either because you've had a boundary change or because you've had a change of MP because of the election results. And a lot of those MPs will not have a clue about home education. It's not really on their radar. You may also have one of the few very bruised ones from the Conservative Party, and we really don't know how they will be responding in the wake of that. But now is the time to build up contact with your MP. I recently heard someone speak, and they said, if you take the 5 most common ways of contacting a member of Parliament, the least effective of them is just to send them an email. The next least effective is probably to forward them some pro forma information that other people have written for you. It gets a lot better if you actually write them a letter on paper. You get much more engagement that way. And I want to add to that, if your children would like to put their own letters into your envelope, either a letter or drawings, that will help them see a human face. I can't remember what his second most effective was, but I can remember what his top one was. And that was very simply arrange to meet them. Now, you might find that terrifying, but remember, they're just human beings. Imagine them sat there in their underwear or something like that. They're just human beings like you. And you do meet them, do take the opportunity to educate them about home education and about the importance of family-based learning. You can meet them as an individual, as a family. You can meet them as a group of families, and you need to be arranging to do this, reaching out to them and saying, can I meet you sometime soon in the next 2 weeks while they're still in Parliament? You can ask them to come and talk to a group of children and answer their questions. That might be something like, what's it like to be a new MP? Or how does Parliament work? Ask them to come and do something like that and build up a relationship. If you're really adventurous, ask them to arrange for you and your children, even a group of parents and children from your area, from their area, to visit Parliament for them to show you around. As I say, the important thing is to reach out to them over the next 2 weeks, try and arrange a meeting at the latest in September and October, because the real nitty-gritty work on any bill brought forward in the Commons will be after that. The important thing is to work at building up a relationship with them, and a key hint here is one of their staff members. If you can get to know one or more of their staff members and personally write to them and say, can you bring this to the members' attention and things, and get them engaged in your issues, that really helps communication with the MPs. It's unlikely that any bill will be implemented before the summer. Any bill that contains registers will contain other education things. And as we saw with the schools bill, MPs, members of the House of Lords, really do want to get schools right, and they are liable to take their time debating those issues. The danger is that registers will go through on the nod. So please don't expect a bill to come in before the end of this year, as the Times suggested would be the case. But you do need to be prepared for a long and potentially hard battle to protect not just home education, but I firmly believe family life as a whole. Thank you for listening to this. I hope it's helpful. And please get in touch if you've got more questions.